Hi everyone, Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. Thank you so much for joining today. We are playing in that board book, Urban Decay, which has been fun. This page kind of has some burned out buildings. Yes, I am enjoying the board book. A couple of things I want to check in about. Handsome hubby and I spent the day at the De Young Museum yesterday with the Frida exhibit. And Jean gave us tickets for that show, which is now sold out, which is amazing. Thank you, Jean, ever so much for the tickets. We got to see the Frida Kahlo show and also the Picasso show. Both were absolutely amazing. Frida is absolutely my favorite, though. I do want to do a shout out for those people that have sent coffee and or money to the village. Always, always appreciated. Rosanna and Lori, Carol, Donna, Lucy, Heidi, Robin, and Janice. That's where we stand right now. And Nancy, you are always so generous to the village. Thank you so very much for that. Thank you to those that have ordered the book on my website. If you have ordered the book on Amazon and you would like a dedication card to go with that book, please let me know. One more thing I almost forgot about. Someone has contacted me about the information to create the fabric book. I wanted to send that information out to you, and I have lost your email address somehow. So please get back to me, and I will send that information to you. Hopefully you know who you are. All right, now, see you on the table. Okay, here's our yummy project for today. More Urban Decay, some caution tape that I made on my typewriter, some crackle in the windows, boarded up doors, cracked windows. So much fun. Oh, some plants growing up in the gutter. Why not? Dead plants here. All right, I have the board book out. I am going to bring a ruler in. Gotta give myself a guideline here. Has to not go past this and not go past this. And I have a small brick stencil. Bring that in with some texture paste and add some bricks. I think we'll start right here. And add bricks all the way down to the bottom. Had some hubbies doing something in his studio. Always fun. I don't want the bricks perfect. That looks good. And we'll let that dry. I'm going to use the same stencil, just use it with the bricks going up instead of sideways. And then at the top, I'll put some texture paste. Give that some texture. And let that dry. Bring in some texture paste, put it on the center building. Add some texture to that. And I'm going to scrape some of it off. and we'll let that dry. This is some old sandpaper, well loved for sure. I'm going to glue that down onto this with some tacky glue. Let that dry. Painted with burnt sienna, let that dry, bring in my sandpaper, and really take that down so we can see some of the bricks. I'm going to remove this extra sandpaper. I'm going to mix some blue and some white paint together. These are both acrylics. Paint those bricks. I have a piece of corrugated cardboard. Paint that. I'm going to glue that onto the house a little bit crooked, like it's kind of fallen off. I'm going to take some sandpaper to this, knock that down. Bit of mustard stays on. This is a brown paper bag sent through the embosser with black stays on it. I'm gluing that down for the door. And 2 windows. So there again, that's brown paper bag run through the embosser, black stays on, and then I sandpapered that to distress it. Put some of the corrugated cardboard on the top of that. And what's left I'll put on the house, just like it's fallen off, trim that's fallen off. This is cardboard that has a wood grain on it. I'll board up those windows. And the door. This is from a yellow envelope, and I have hand-typed caution on it. Rub the edges with the black stays on ink. Grunge that up a little bit. I'm going to grunge it up with my Stabilo. Alright, I have some brown or beige or whatever color, some ugly color of brown. Paint that second building, and we'll let that dry. Bring my sandpaper in and knock that down. Bring in some peeled paint distress ink. Bring my sanding block back in. Vintage photo. Sanding block, peeled paint. And some mustard. And some Timber Brown Stays On ink. Put a little bit of newspaper here. Bring in my Crackle stamp and my black Stays On. I have a piece of acetate. I'm going to stamp some Crackle on there. Beautiful. Put some adhesive around the edge of that window and lay that down. And we'll let that dry. Add some embellishments to the house. This is a jelly print on watercolor paper laying around. I cut some windows in that frame for that cracked window. I'm going to bring in some sandpaper, rough up the window frame and the door, grunge it up a little bit. This is gorgeous peeled paint. I'm bringing in tea dye, just grunging that paint up a little bit so it's not so white. Beautiful. Bring in a little bit of Mod Podge. Lay a newspaper print on there. It is actually a piece of newspaper. Picked up on a walk. We don't get a newspaper here. Let that dry for a minute. to bring in my hot glue gun, create some dead shrubs out front. Let those cool. When that's cool, to rub the strings away. Bring in my black StazOn. Pretty cool. Bring in a couple of strips of the cardboard. One strip of the caution tape across that door. While things are drying, I'm bringing in my Timber Brown StazOn ink and hitting those plants with a little bit of brown. Not quite so black. Beautiful. While I have the Timber Brown out, I'm really adding some, almost like some charred area in the house. Bring in my Stabilo, go around the edge of the house, the windows haphazardly. And spit and smudge. All right, house done. All right, my plan here is to take Van Dyke brown hue, paint this building, go ahead and scuff it up with some sandpaper. Bring in my vintage photo, grunge those up a little bit. And sandpaper them again. So I like the way that looks. I'm going to bring in the one-step crackle and I'm going to put it on those windows. I put the crackle on the windows and on the stucco area. So we'll see what happens. I'm bringing in the yellow ochre, going over that building. All right, let that dry. Bring my sandpaper in, hit the building. vintage photo. And sandpaper. I'm going to put a piece of silver up here. I brought my bone folder in, really pushed that down. Bring in my sandpaper and grunge that up. Bring in my black StazOn. I put some more crackle on there, see if I can leave that alone and let that dry. I was not patient the last time, so I heated it and bubbled it and destroyed it, so I'm going to leave that there. I have a little headstone here. Put that down and walk away. So I've decided, why not, that I want to create some barbed wire. So I'm taking some of my bookbinding twine I'm going to tie some knots on here and create some barbed wire. So when you don't have anything to do, just tie little knots on a piece of string. Ay, ay, ay. I'm going to glue that barbed wire down on the top of that building with some tacky glue. Alright, I glued the barbed wire down on the top with tacky glue. It wanted to stick to my finger, so I brought my palette knife in, smushed it down with that. Never give up, never surrender. It's going to be fine. It's not exactly how I wanted it to be, but it's I am okay with that. I put a little bit of graffiti paper here. Found out I got that from Melinda. Thank you, Melinda. Alright, they crackled pretty good. They're not quite dry. I'm going to bring in a little bit of white acrylic. So I'm rubbing some white acrylic paint into those cracks. They're beautiful. Bring in my Stabilo, go around the windows. Bring in a bit of the caution tape. That will automatically pick up some of that Stabilo that I just put down. Grunging that up a little bit. Okay, this page is done. Very fun. So we have this page and this page done in our board book. This is fun, how this borders that. Yep, go create, go play, go have fun.